This is the story of the Kush Empire, an empire that stood at the crossroads of civilizations, influencing and being influenced by the mighty powers that surrounded it. From building impressive pyramids comparable to those in Egypt, to establishing an advanced network of urban centers and military installations, Kush was a hub of innovation, trade, and power. The terms Nubia and Kush are often used interchangeably, even though they refer to the same geographical region but with different historical contexts. Throughout its history, Kush navigated complex diplomacy, warfare, and cultural exchange with its northern neighbor, Egypt. Join us on a journey back in time as we uncover the Black Pharaohs of the Kush Empire, tracing its rise, glory, and eventual decline. Here's the timeline. Don't forget to subscribe and follow the channel for more videos like this. By 2000 BCE, the city-state of Kerma became the region's dominant political force, signifying the start of the Kerma culture, which flourished between 1750 and 1500 BCE. The first mention of Kush is found in Egyptian texts from around 2000 BCE. The Kushites did not have a writing system at this time, making it challenging to determine how long the civilization had existed prior to this. The Kushites farmed the Nile River Valley using irrigation systems. Kush's prosperity was tied to the fertile lands along the Nile, made possible by innovative agricultural methods. The introduction of the sakia, or water wheel, transformed irrigation, allowing the Kushites to harness the Nile's resources more effectively. They mined minerals and high-quality stone for trade and introduced iron metallurgy to the region. This part of Africa produced more gold than any other place in the world at that time. The ancient Kushites' economy partially depended on trading exotic African goods with Egypt. Acting as intermediaries, Kushite traders supplied the Egyptians with ivory, ebony, incense, and other exotic goods from the south. The Egyptians then traded these items with other Mediterranean societies. This early kingdom was a hub for trade and innovation, benefiting from access to gold mines and substantial trade with northern neighbors, which generated considerable wealth and power. Kerma, a site of extensive archaeological research, is perhaps one of the best excavated sites in Sudan. The city, built around a central temple area, features a massive cemetery with approximately 40,000 burials. Many of these burials were for warriors, evident from the bronze daggers, bows, and arrows found. The Kushites were among the first peoples in Africa to use horses in warfare, and they raised horses for both chariotry and riding. The Kushites used cavalry to support their infantry and chariotry, and they were known for their skilled horsemen and archers. The Kushite cavalry was also used to protect trade routes and to maintain control over the Kushite Empire's vast territories. The kingdom of Kush ultimately consisted of three major cities: Meroe, Kerma, and Napata. Kush's peak influence occurred in the 8th century BC when its kings, known as the Black Pharaohs, ascended the throne and began the 25th dynasty of Egypt. This period marked a renaissance in Egyptian culture, religion, and art. King Piye, the first among these kings, united Egypt not solely through military force, but also with a vision of unity and prosperity. His victory stela declares a reign of justice and religious reverence, rejuvenating Egypt's spiritual and political sphere. A victory stela in ancient Egypt is a monument, typically a stone slab or column, erected to commemorate and celebrate a significant military victory or achievement of a pharaoh. King Piye, also known as Pianki, is renowned for his successful military campaign in the late 8th century BCE, leading to the conquest of all Egypt. Piye's campaign initiated in response to a threat to the homeland of the god Amun in Upper Egypt, posed by Tefnakte, a Libyan chieftain in the Nile Delta. Viewing his campaign as a holy war, Piye instructed his soldiers to ritually cleanse themselves before entering battle and offered sacrifices to the god Amun. Piye's forces achieved a complete victory at Heracleopolis, conquering cities such as Hermopolis and Memphis. Piye's campaign significantly impacted the history of ancient Egypt and Nubia. It marked the end of the 23rd dynasty and the beginning of the 25th dynasty, also known as the Kushite dynasty, which governed Egypt for over a century. Piye's success showcased the Kushite kingdom's military strength and its capacity to extend its influence beyond its borders. While ruling Egypt, the Kushite pharaohs upheld their Nubian heritage. They brought the tradition of pyramid building to Nubia. The steep-sided structures at Meroe remain as a testament to their architectural prowess. King Shabaka, also known as Sabakon, was a Nubian king who re-established the 25th dynasty in Lower Egypt, becoming the second of the Black Pharaohs. He succeeded his brother, Piye, as ruler of the Nubian kingdom of Kush and ruled Egypt from around 718 to 703 BCE. Though Piye had subdued Lower Egypt 10 years before Shabaka's reign, he failed to establish a permanent administration there. As a result, Shabaka had to undertake the task of reconquering Lower Egypt from scratch. Shabaka moved north, captured Bokhoris. He made important contributions to religious buildings at Thebes, fostered religious orthodoxy in Amon's cult, and maintained the royal tradition of pyramid burials. Unlike Pianki, Shabaka established an effective administration over all of Egypt. His reign marked the prelude to the Assyrian Conquest. Shabaka recognized the increasing power of the Assyrians northeast of Egypt as a serious threat. To create buffer states, he tried to incite revolts in Syria and Palestine. However, this attempt failed when the Assyrians quelled the revolts, leading to an impending major confrontation between Assyria and Egypt. The remainder of Shabaka's reign appears to have been peaceful. As Herodotus notes, he abolished capital punishment in Egypt. Shabaka's rule ushered in a period of stability and prosperity in Egypt, marked by his support for religious architecture and the priesthood. King Taharqa reign lasted 13 years, during which he expanded trade in the Levant and, like his predecessors, organized large-scale construction projects in Egypt. The Kushites were strongly attached to Egyptian religion and cultural manifestations. They restored traditional Egyptian religious practices and built and restored many temples and monuments throughout Egypt. The peace in the region ended in 677 BCE, when Assyrian king Esarhaddon declared war on Egypt and invaded its territory. This conflict lasted for 4 years, with Taharqa and his Egyptian Kushite army ultimately prevailing. However, the Assyrian retreat was only temporary. In 671 BCE, just 6 years later, Assyrian king Esarhaddon reassembled his potent army and subsequently invaded Memphis, the capital of Lower Egypt. The Assyrians successfully invaded Upper Egypt, and by 656, forced Taharqa and the Kushites to retreat south to their ancestral base in Kush. His expulsion from Egypt by the Assyrians marked the end of the 25th dynasty's rule over Egypt. The Kush Empire created a civilization of remarkable strength and beauty. The architectural wonders and urban centers within the Kush Empire, along with their innovative agricultural practices, are awe-inspiring. The pyramids of Meroe, characterized by their distinctive Nubian style, stand as silent witnesses to Kush's grandeur. Unlike their Egyptian counterparts, these pyramids have steep angles and smaller bases, showcasing Kushite architectural innovation. Contrary to what we might imagine, these smaller pyramids actually require greater sophistication and engineering. The rulers of Kush beautified their empire with magnificent temples and palaces, etching their legacy into stone. Kush's urban centers, like Napata and Meroe, were bustling hubs of commerce and culture. Vibrant marketplaces were filled with traders from all corners of the ancient world. The decline of the Kush Empire began in the 4th century CE due to internal conflicts, invasions from neighboring kingdoms, and the expansion of the Roman Empire. The final blow was dealt in 350 CE by the Aksumites, a Christian kingdom from what is now Ethiopia, who invaded Meroe, the Kush Empire's capital, and looted its treasures. The Kush Empire then fragmented into 3 smaller kingdoms, Nobatia, Makuria, and Alodia, which survived until the 16th century CE. As the sun sets over the Nile, casting long shadows over the pyramids of Meroe, our journey through the remarkable era of the Black Pharaohs of Kush concludes. From the steep pyramids of Meroe to the lush agricultural lands nourished by the Nile, the Kush Empire's narrative is filled with conquest, trade, and innovation. But the story of Kush is just one chapter in the grand saga of African empires. Civilizations like Aksum, Mali, and Great Zimbabwe have each significantly shaped our ancestry, culture, and language across this vast continent. We encourage you to join us as we delve into these other magnificent African empires in our series. Each empire, with its unique legacy, provides a fresh perspective on our history, our African accomplishment. Subscribe to our channel as we explore more stories of Africa's great empires. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.